The scene is a busy Barcelona plaza with people enjoying a beautiful day in a beautiful city. Notes echo off the plaza, hundreds of people who 5 minutes before were living separate lives celebrate together an ode to joy. The scene is a busy road running from Jericho to Jerusalem. Thousands of people walk the road together, filling the air with dust and anticipation. Some have been traveling for days from towns and villages from the north and south and east and west. Only the oldest and the weakest stay home, for no matter how long the journey, they come together to commemorate the most joyous Jewish of holy days, Passover, the celebration of freedom from Egyptian slavery. They come to worship the God who gave them their freedom and a land of promise. Shouting can be heard above the din of the crowds, a sound of joy that rises above the excitement everyone feels as they approach the city and see the breathtaking beauty of the temple shining in the sun. This jubilant commotion causes everyone to turn and search for the source and the cause of such joy, and they quickly see it. Coming toward them is a man riding on a donkey. Not a terribly unusual sight. People used to ride donkeys to travel, though it was mostly older folk and pregnant women. Even more confounding is the people ahead of this man who are taking off their cloaks and laying them on the dirty, dusty road for the donkey to walk on as though they are offering a red carpet entrance to this man into the city of Jerusalem. Word finally reaches them. This is Jesus, the famous rabbi, miracle worker from Galilee. Rumor has it he could be the Messiah, King David's long-awaited and promised heir. Could he be coming at Passover to observe the holy day, or perhaps create a new Passover? Could he be entering the city to drive out the dark empire of Rome and bring the dawn of a new day of independence and prosperity? Is it possible they happen to be there when the revolution begins? Hope rises until it erupts from their voices. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven. Funny, though, some think, as he passes by, this king rides humbly. He waves to no one, not even a secret wink of acknowledgement that something big is about to begin. It's a moment most would-be kings would bask in, but he seems almost troubled, as though his thoughts are somewhere else. Well, he has a lot on their mind. They think surely there is an orchestrated plan that preoccupies his thoughts. Secret troops could be entering all the gates of the city. Disguised comrades could be getting into place, and he has to think about these things. They are wrong, of course. There are no secret troops hidden among the crowds, entering the city and waiting for the cue to start the revolution. But they are right, too. He does have a lot on his mind, and there is an orchestrated plan. What seems like a spontaneous moment of celebration, this red carpet ride into the city of David, is, in fact, a pre-arranged and premeditated event. They don't see that, but we do, because Luke shows it to us. When he had come near Bethany and Bethphage, Luke writes, he sent two of his disciples, saying, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it to me. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' tell them the Lord needs it." So the disciples go and do as Jesus said, and sure enough, as they are untying the colt, someone says, "Why are you untying my colt?" They say, "The Lord has need of it," and take it to Jesus. Now, if it sounds like Jesus is prophetically telling the future here, it's because he is. But not simply because Jesus can predict what will happen next. Jesus is telling the future here because the future has already been planned. He sees the future because the moment is not a coincidence. It is not occurring by accidents or happenstance. It is not that Jesus needs to ride a donkey. It is not that he is just so tired from walking from Galilee and he just can't make it one more mile from the Mount of Olives. He rides the donkey because it is the fulfillment of a plan the prophet Zechariah had seen 500 years before. "Rejoice greatly, O daughter Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter Jerusalem, for your king comes to you. Triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. A man stands in a plaza in Barcelona, alone and still. A little girl sees the top hat on the ground, the most formal of tip jars, and when she places a coin in the hat, she sets off a series of events that at first seem random, simple, coincidental. But it turns out that this is a highly, if you'll pardon the pun, orchestrated event, a plan to fill the plaza with joy. A man sits on a donkey, lost in his thoughts. The crowds recognize him as something of a celebrity who may be planning an overthrow of the Roman Empire. Good for you, they say. Good for you. It probably won't work, but it's a good effort to put yourself out there. We're behind you. As it turns out, they're way behind him. We'll shout for you. Hosanna today. Blessed is the King. Crucify tomorrow. We have no king but Caesar. But it's all part of the plan. Tell the crowd to be quiet, the Pharisees order Jesus. I can't, he answers. If they were to be quiet, the very rocks and stones would shout out. Because what appears to be random coincidence is in reality all part of the plan. A plan not to be the king of the Jews for a few years, but to be the king of the cosmos forever. A plan to ultimately free the world from bondage and fill the world with joy. Which is a good thing to remember in the next few days when evil seems to be winning and chaos appears to reign. It's also a good thing to remember the next time your life or this world seems to be nothing more than a random series of meaningless events. There is a plan, and each one of you is part of it. And that's why Jesus rode into Jerusalem. Amen.